Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and to our esteemed guests today. Thank you for your time and for your patience in being here for a long time without a break. So my name's Julie Fedorchak. I'm from the state of North Dakota, and I'm very honored to be from a state that is home to nature's first energy storage system, 700 years of coal, is the third largest producer of oil, has the lowest gas and electric utility rates in the country, and also gets 30% of our utility usage from renewables. For the last 12 years, I've been a utility regulator in my state, which means I oversaw the rates and service of 5 monopoly utility providers, permitted $15 billion worth of new pipelines, wind farms, gas processing facilities, you name it. We installed it, $15 billion worth. So I'm very familiar with permitting challenges, and also worked in the energy markets. The one thing that 12 years taught me is that this is all a heck of a lot more complicated than anybody sitting up here or down there realizes. And the people we ought to be listening to are the people running the electric grid. Those people are telling us we have a problem, a big problem. And 2/3 of our country is at an elevated risk for not meeting power demand today. That doesn't mean like in 15 years when we have electrification or when we have AI, that's today. We could be sitting here without lights on. So we have to get real about this issue, and I have a couple questions. Mr. O'Connor, in your written testimony, you called the Inflation Reduction Act and the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act the, quote, bedrock of our country's energy dominance agenda. Based on what I just told you, I don't share that perspective. You cite a study that estimates between 146 and 308 gigawatts of renewable capacity will be added to the grid by 2030 as a result of IRA tax credits. The MISO transmission region, which I'm intimately familiar with and serves most of my state, is expected to see a net 50 gigawatt increase in installed capacity by 2042, but a net 30 gigawatt decrease in accredited capacity. In your work, are you focusing on accredited capacity or installed capacity? And what should we be focusing on?
Well, first of all, thank you for the question. And of course, I was going to get a question like that from the former head of NARUC. So it is a pleasure to speak with you here today. The reference study, which I think was from Rhodium, I believe was just net capacity, not accredited. I didn't apply ELCC values and derive what % of the capacity would be based on ELCC or anything like that.
Do you think people generally understand the difference when you talk about gigawatts of capacity coming online, whether it's installed or accredited, and what the difference is?
I've never mentioned accredited capacity and had anybody other than an energy industry professional pay attention, so I would say no.
Is that part of the problem, do you think, in why we're facing the challenges today, that we are at risk in 2/3 of the country of not having enough accredited capacity to meet demand?
You know, I don't. I think if the question is not specifically about distinctions between accredited and just capacity, I think people do understand that different generation resources have different attributes. I think there's been quite a bit of discussion here today about that and in general. So I would say generally I think it's a concept people understand. I don't really think it forms the basis for concerns we might have in MISO or other regions.
Mm-hmm. The IRA was passed in August of 2022, and we've had cumulative additions of 20.7 gigawatts since then, and cumulative retirements of 42.9 gigawatts. So this is a path that is not sustainable. The bar graphs for installed capacity versus accredited capacity are going in opposite directions, and we simply won't have enough power to meet demand if we don't fix that. So thank you for your time here. There's 15 seconds if you'd like to respond.
I was just going to note that, right, the IRA passed in 2022, and obviously it takes several years to develop a lot of projects. So I'm not sure that we can look at the first 2 years after passage of the bill as reflective of long-term capital investments that take a few years to interconnect. Thank you.
Thank you. I yield. Thanks, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much.